The Imperial Guard arrived on Cronus in pursuit of the Eldar Farseer Taldir. General Lucas Alexander found more than his prey there, however. He found his destiny. General Alexander claimed the abandoned city of Ironworks Bay as a base of operations and found there the massive Hellstorm cannon of an Imperator war titan. Tech priests had brought this fearsome relic to Cronus millennia ago, soon after it was cut from a heretical war machine during the Horus Heresy. When the general reported his discovery, the Imperial Guard's high command issued him new orders. He would secure the Titan's gun, along with any other relics of the tech priests, and would then return Cronus to the Imperium of Man, ordering him to drive out the aliens and heretics besetting this world. Segmentum Command named Alexander Governor Militant and created the 1st Cronus Regiment from his ground forces. The new governor quickly renamed the city itself Victory Bay, making it his new planetary capital, while his men adopted the sobriquet of Liberators for the regiment. When the Blood Ravens Space Marines began the purge of Cronus, the Governor Militant refused to retreat. His orders were clear. Regardless of the demands of the Space Marines, the Guard would fight the Blood Ravens along with all the other invaders. Driven from Lorne 5, the Ork war boss Gorgut's headhunter managed to return as a greater threat still during the Dark Crusade. He formed a new warband from Ork freebooters and pirates and others pushed out of the Lorne system and set about raiding worlds on the outskirts of the Tau Empire, gaining resources along the way. When Cronus sent out desperate calls for help against the Necrons, Gorguts sent his forces to strike at a vulnerable target. Gorgut's war fleet dropped out of the warp only to find Imperial and Tau fleets squaring off above Cronus. The Orks lost several ships, but the clashing fleets were unable to repel the large number of rocks Gorguts threw into the atmosphere. These massive landing ships, made from converted asteroids, smashed into the Green Coast and unloaded their bands of Ork invaders. There, Gorguts brought the local feral orcs to heel and set about his conquest. The war had come to Cronus. The Necrons had lain buried in the sands of Cronus for eons, having retreated there at the end of a great war only hinted at in the histories of ancient races like the Eldar. Long before man even stood upright, the Necrons and their dark gods had retreated to their tomb worlds. But their slumber was not eternal. Eventually their genocidal deities awoke them again, driving them to purge the life that had spread across the galaxy during their sleep. On Cronus, this awakening came when an archaeological team opened a mysterious crypt on the arid Thor Abyss Plateau. Most of the team died, but expedition leader Thomas Maccabee somehow became one of the mysterious Necron pariahs. Seemingly retaining a hint of his personality, he occasionally spoke for the Silent Army as it advanced. The Necron Lord of Cronus, the most ancient and powerful of the deathless creatures on the planet, promptly launched a campaign of extermination. His loathsome god, the Nightbringer, hungered for the deaths of all those on Cronus. The powers of chaos manifested in the once pleasant Deimos Peninsula on the southern coast of Cronus, transforming it into a blasted hellscape. Summoned by heretical cultists, the Black Apostle Eliphas the Inheritor emerged from the war, leading a whole company of the Word-bearer Chaos Legion. These heretical space marines had been to Cronus before, fighting against their loyal brothers during the dark days of the Horus Heresy. Eliphas had been but a young champion then, but returned a terrible Chaos Lord, ready to bring ruin to the galaxy at large. The Dark Crusade would be his proving ground. By defeating the many powers vying for the planet, he sought to gain favor with the dark gods he worshipped. Unless they could be stopped then and there, the Word-bearers would strike deeper into the Imperium. The rise of the Necrons and the arrival of other powers on Cronus was a threat the Tau Empire could not ignore. With their doctrine built firmly around the so-called greater good, the Tau could not tolerate seeing a thriving colony taken away from them. The Ethereals, leaders of the Empire, responded to the distress signals from Cronus by sending some of their best and brightest to retake the world. Aunel Shiorez was among the most lauded of a new generation of the ethereal caste. He would be responsible for restoring proper order to this wayward world. With him came the military leader, Shas Okais, a student of the teachings of Commander Puretide. Okais brought a massive force of fire-caste warriors, as well as auxiliaries from the Tau's allied races, the Kroot and the Vespid. Tau ground forces landed in the city of Tashin, or Ashadis, to use his true imperial name. And from there began the crusade to retake the planet as a whole. In the depths of Craftworld Ulthwé, the Eldar Farseer Taldir foresaw the return of the Necrons and their campaign of galactic genocide. She had driven the Imperial Guard on Lorn 5 against this ancient foe, but the threat remained real. When the Necrons rose on Cronus, Taldir faced a new problem. This planet on the galaxy's edge was beyond the reach of the Eldar webway. Instead of traveling from the Craftworld via this ancient system, Taldir's forces arrived aboard her wraith ship, the Vision of Lilith. This alien vessel hid at the edge of the system while an advance party took a small shuttle to the frozen wastes of Tyria. There, they erected special gateways linked to the holds of the Vision of Lilith. The Eldar found the planet in a sorry state. The Necrons were on the march, and the assortment of other powers on Cronus could not be trusted to stop them. Abandoning her habitual manipulations, Taldir ordered her forces to begin an all-out conquest of Cronus. If none of the Mon-Kai would stop the Necrons, the Eldar would do it themselves. The Space Marines of the Blood Ravens chapter arrived on Cronus like the mailed fist of the Emperor. Acting under orders from his chapter master and chief librarian, young brother Captain Davian Thule ordered the Blood Ravens to carry out a thorough purge of this world. The chapter master had told Thule that ancient relics of the chapter were hidden on Cronus. artifacts from the mysterious early years of the Blood Ravens. These sacred items could not be allowed to fall into alien hands. Captain Thule ordered the withdrawal of the Imperial Guard forces stationed in Victory Bay. But Governor Alexander flatly refused to pull his men back. Thule judged the governor a good man, but had little choice but to send his Space Marines to battle the governor's troops, along with all the other powers on Cronus. The Blood Raven's willingness to fight soldiers of the Imperium did not go unnoticed. Whispers began that the relics on Cronus were more damning than holy. Only the war's victors would be left to decide the truth of the matter.